Welcome back to thefamilydeal.com. 7 Sports Cave. Anthony Fenech from the Detroit Free Press, the Tigers beat writer. I mean, how many days off of summer do you get?
Anywhere from 7 to 9, which is the amount of times I've been on the Sports Cave now.
That's right. Our sports producer tallied them all up, and this is the 9th appearance for Mr. Fenech on the Cave. Welcome back. Welcome back. We do miss the other part of you, the mustache.
No more mustache cam.
From the last time. We had a mustache cam for him, and now it's gone.
I miss it a little bit. It'll come back. I'll let you know. I'll let Mike know so we can get the mustache or the stash cam.
Stash cam needs to be back.
Again.
Look, it gets people excited. Maybe a little more excited than Tigers baseball as it currently stands today. Obviously, you were at the game today, and when you came here, I greeted you with "How was the game today?" and you kind of laughed. And I mean, look, we're seeing more and more of those types of games than we really want to. Yesterday, kudos, good, powerful bats, get some, manufacture some runs and whatnot. But then you get to today, and today is more of who this Tigers team is.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes. Today, unfortunately, was not an off day. One of my 7 to 9 of the year. Look, this is a rebuilding team, and these kind of games are going to happen maybe more often than not. Look, Ryan Carpenter's a guy that likely should be in AAA somewhere, but with the Tigers and their rebuilding team, he's out there starting games. He got lit up, 8 runs on 10 hits. Many of them were scorched. Tigers offense is kind of, look, I'd say Jekyll and Hyde, but it's usually the lows of lows versus the highs that we saw on Saturday. I guess it is what it is. And they're also going up against a very good Minnesota Twins team, one of the best teams in baseball. Practically overnight, they stole this division from the Indians. But I think if there's one positive we're seeing here, Jacoby Jones is really hitting the ball well.
Right.
And he's made a couple adjustments, and I think most of it is just mental. He knows his talent ability. He knows that he can perform like this, and I think confidence for a young player, and look, he's 27 years old, but that's still fairly young. He's just entering his prime. I think that's been the biggest positive recently, because if you can get Jacoby Jones to 750 on base plus slugging percentage with the kind of defense he gives you in center field, well, hey, you came into the season not knowing how long you're going to play that string out, but now you have a surefire starting center fielder.
Right.
That's one thing. He still has a long way to go, though.
Al Avila spoke to the reporters after his long couple of days during the draft. He was in the dugout. You were in the dugout talking to him. What did you take away most from that? I mean, the number one thing I took away from it, he says, we're not going to rush Casey Mize up here. Everyone wants to see him up here. We get it. It's not happening.
No, and I think that
beyond that, what else did
yes, and I think just for that needs to be repeated. Casey Mize is not coming up this year, and it's not so much the service time or where the Tigers are at, but this offseason, they're going to have to add anywhere between 5 and 10 players to their 40-man roster. So there's going to be a little bit of a roster crunch. You're not going to add anybody to the 40-man that you don't have to right now, unless you sacrifice another guy, which you're not going to do. What did I take away? I took away 2 words. He said energy boost when he was talking about the way that the Tigers attacked this year's draft. 6 position players out of the chute. They didn't take a college senior before the 10th round, really loaded up on college bats. And from the people I've spoken with around the league, it was a very positive draft for the Tigers. Now look, nobody knows how these guys are going to turn out. Sure. Nobody knows how Riley Green's going to turn out, even though the Tigers have video of him since he was like 13 years old. But at least it shows a little bit of an organizational change in philosophy. They feel like they have requisite pitching depth in the minor leagues, especially with the Mize, Manning, 1-2 combo at the top. Now they know that they have to build some depth positionally, and I think they took a good first step in doing that in this year's draft.
Riley Green was in town on Friday. He spoke with our Brad Galley to get a little bit to know about this 18-year-old kid who's hitting home runs at Comerica Park and during BP already.
You said you had dreamed about and wanted to be a professional baseball player since you were 4 or 5. To wear that Tigers cap and to see your name on a jersey, what's this day been like for you?
It's been amazing. It's been an amazing experience. I mean, the night that my name got called, I was with my family and friends, and I mean, it gave me the chills hearing all of them scream. So yeah, I'm very excited to get started and very, very excited.
Most of your childhood, the Tigers were one of the best teams in baseball. Knowing where they're at now, what's the difference like in your mind watching those teams, and how closely did you watch the Tigers growing up?
To be honest, I didn't really watch baseball that much when I grew up. I just love playing it, and I still don't really watch it that much either. I mean, I just love playing it. But yeah, most of the time I'm working out or I'm playing, so I really don't have time to watch baseball. But yeah, I'm very excited to get started. It's a great program, great people in the program. I mean, they've taken me in, and I've gotten very comfortable with them. So yeah, I'm very excited to get started.
What have your parents been like through this process and maybe even driving in today and coming up to the park? Your reaction is one thing, but what's it been like through your eyes watching them kind of observe all of this?
Well, I think they're having a great time. I mean, on draft day, my parents were more nervous, I think, than me. I mean, I don't really get nervous that much, but I think they were more nervous than me, like sitting in the room watching TV. Like my dad was like sweating and shaking, and I don't know about my mom. She was just sitting there just watching. But yeah, I mean, they're taking it all in. They're loving every second of it.
Is it pretty wild that when you step out onto this field today, there will be little kids asking for your autograph, and you'll be in Tigers gear, and a guy that someday down the road this fan base will be cheering for? Is it crazy to observe and kind of feel that today?
Oh yeah, it's very crazy. I'm very excited to hit BP on here. I mean, I love hitting BP, like I said a couple minutes ago, and it's been one of my favorite things to do.
Thanks so much for that, Brad. You were there watching him just smoke balls into the Pepsi porch, and Al Kaline was there, and Al Avila was there, and I mean, this is pretty impressive stuff for an 18-year-old.
Miguel Cabrera was there and wanted Riley Green to stay. It was eye-opening, and it's very interesting because you hear about these prospects, you see them on video hitting balls off roofs in high school, but then to see it with your own eyes, very, very nice left-handed swing. He's a guy that Baseball America considered the best prep bat in the draft, a guy that challenges guys like Andrew Vaughn, the first baseman from Cal, J.J. Bleday, the outfielder from Vanderbilt. He's going to be really step up as a Tigers' #1 positional prospect. Isaac Paredes is a guy that's really kind of knocking on the top prospect door, but now they've put a lot of eggs, 6.1 million of them. Could you imagine that?
As an 18-year-old kid?
18-year-old.
He's going to go buy a stupid car. You know, that would be the first thing I would do if I was an 18-year-old with $6 million. Be like, what's the stupidest car I could go buy? Oh, I want that.
I can't imagine it. But they did put a lot of eggs in that basket, and they did so because they knew they needed another impact offensive prospect. I think the knock on Green so far is, look, he's 18 years old. He's not going to be up until he's 23. That's 5 years. The Tigers, will they even exist? Look,
it's the franchise folds.
And I've had multiple people who have watched him caution me on, look, a player that gets drafted #6, where Riley Green gets drafted, they have special ability. And players with special ability, if they perform in the minor leagues, they're going to move up this ladder quickly. So whereas you look at the college guys, okay, they'll be ready when the Tigers are ready to compete 2 years from now. Riley Green could be ready to compete 2 years from now as well.
Right.
That would be the absolute best case scenario.
Yeah, absolutely. We are kind of getting into the territory where the All-Star break is a little over a month away or so. The trade deadline will be right after that. Who, in your mind, is starting to position themselves to potentially be moved on from this team? Shane Green comes to mind, obviously. And where do things stand with Nick Castellanos?
Yeah, I think, first of all, Green is a guy that's definitely going to be moved. I think it would be very wise for the Tigers to do that. You know, he kind of struggled last year after having a very good season in 2017. Now's the time. You look across baseball, everybody needs relievers. Now, I don't think teams are going to be eyeing or valuing Green as a closer, but they're going to look at him as another back-end reliever, a 7th, 8th inning kind of guy. So I think that's an easy trade. You brought up Nick Castellanos. From my perspective, things haven't gone great on that front. Look, Nick's not hitting to his capabilities. I think we saw in April and May, he's thinking about this contract situation a lot. I think he's been slighted that the Tigers have not really entertained a contract extension. I think it's handcuffed him in the clubhouse in terms of being a leader. And I think deep down, Nick is in there as almost a lame duck. He knows he's going to get traded. Well, he hasn't really done much to improve his value with the bat. He's gotten better in right field, but I think what we're going to see is the Tigers will trade Nick, all right, and he's going to go somewhere. Nick's the kind of guy that he likes carrying the team on his back. Okay, go back to 2017. All the guys were traded. J-Up was traded. JD was traded. Victor and Miguel were hurt. Nick hit 400 in September. He likes having that kind of pressure. So when the Tigers do trade him for I would say maybe you're on the JD Martinez package, except maybe 2 of them. He's going to go somewhere. I think he's going to flourish. And then the optics are going to be, you only got this for Nick Castellanos?
Right.
Really, he hasn't helped his trade value.
The injuries, I mean, 4 out of the 5 starters are out right now. I mean, you lost Fulmer before the season even got started. You're playing with an entirely new infield. How's Ron Gardenhire doing? Is he all right?
He's all right. He's been a godsend for the beat writers because he fills the notebook up, okay? So filling the notebook up is he's a talker. But you're right. Even though the Tigers can put out games like today, 12-2, they're a rebuilding team, they haven't been exactly dealt a great deck of injury cards. The Ryan Carpenters, the openers, the lack of depth in the starting rotation, they have 4 starting pitchers out, and no team can deal with that.
And I like that he actually confronts that, because look, no team, no manager, coach anywhere is going to use injuries as an excuse. You just can't do it in today's world. But he's not shying away from talking about it and saying, hey, look, this is the reality of the situation. I'm accepting that, and we want to have energy in the clubhouse. And by the way, Saturday, did you see how those guys reacted after Jacoby's first home run?
Absolutely.
I mean, it was wild. They looked like they won the Super Bowl. And I was like, guys, it's the bottom of the second. Like, what's going on? But the energy is there, and I think that comes from Ron.
Absolutely, and I think that it starts with him and the whole the debate nowadays in the baseball. What do managers really matter? They matter very much. Okay, he's got a hold of this clubhouse. They follow him. They play hard for him. I feel bad for him sometimes because look at the players he's been dealt.
Right.
But Jacoby Jones is a spark plug on that team. They love seeing him hit the way he is. But again, the optics don't help when 2 guys, Kyle Funkhauser and Bo Burrows, are also hurt, because those would be the guys that would be making these starts instead of the Ryan Carpenters of the world. And to the casual or diehard fan, they see, hey, look, Burrows is up, Funkhauser's up. This is starting to work. We're starting to see these guys. They've been hurt so far. So the injuries have killed them, even up the middle, where Jordy Mercer and Josh Harrison haven't played well. You're a Pittsburgh guy. You know what they bring to the table. A lot of stability, and now they're playing mix and match across the infield. Right. This is probably going to be their worst season of the rebuild. It's shaping up that way.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And when you have veterans like Harrison and Mercer, those are guys that know how to, get things done when need to happen, not getting that help, and you have a mix match, and every lineup looks different day in and day out. So it's a wild ride, but you're along for the whole thing of it. Congratulations on those 9 to 7 days off. Have you had any of them yet?
2.
Hey,
2. I'm counting.
7 left.
I'm counting.
7 left. All right, coming up next, we got to talk about that Rocket Mortgage Classic. Only a couple weeks away. Professional golf back in the D.
Tiger playing? That's all I care about.
Maybe not. We don't know. We'll talk about it a little bit next, though, on the FamilyDeal.com 7 Sports tape. Stay with us.